Hello. So this is a tutorial for the pumpkin with the top hat, and I'm going to do a tutorial from start to finish, painting him and then assembling him so you can see how I paint him and finish him and then put them all together. So I already have him put together, so I'm going to take them all apart so you see how he goes together. So here's his hat. So, and then everything on his hat is all assembled, but we'll get to that hat in a little bit. We're going to start with this part here. So this whole piece is all connected to make this much easier than the last jack-o'-lantern that I did last year. So it's all connected. The only thing you're going to have to paint is just this part here because the rest of it is going to be covered by the hat. And then this part, you're just going to be painting like the face and then the lines in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually paint this whole section black just to make it extra spooky. So I'm going to start with this layer first. So I'm just going to use some chalk paint from Folk Art and just some regular chalk paint, nothing special. Get it at Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. And you don't have to paint the whole thing. Again, this is going to be covered up. The only parts you're going to see is where his face is and then those lines in between. So remember, you're only going to be seeing parts of this. So when you go to line this up, the edges of the pumpkin do not line up all the way to the edge of this. Just remember that. There's going to be these little edges around here. So they don't go all the way to the edge, so you have to make sure you paint those edges. Okay, so, and this does not have to be perfect. You're only going to be seeing part of this. So you can be sloppy, it does not matter how you paint this because you're really not going to see this too much. I mean, I have a lot of paint in my brush, so I'm just going to use what I have here. So I'm just going to take some of this paint off from other sections. I didn't mean to put so much paint on here. You did not have to paint this whole thing, just sections of it. All right. So I'm just gonna wipe some of this paint off. I just put way too much on my brush. There we go. And that's all you have to do for this section. That is it. And you didn't even need to put that much paint on it. There we go. Just clean some of this paint off because I put way too much paint on. I usually double check and wipe it off before I get started, but there it is. So that's all you have to do for that one. So this layer is done. So I'm going to take this and set it over here to dry. And since I have my black paint on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and get his hat. I want to paint his hat black this time because I think the top hat would look really cool black. So I'm going to take that whole section. This is one big section, and then I have all these little pieces layered on top, and we'll get to those in just a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit more black paint. Hopefully not as much black paint as I did last time. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint this. Get all that extra black paint I stuck on there. My goodness, I had a lot of black paint on there. And the Folk Art paint is quite thick. Especially this black one is very thick. Plus it's also very old. I've had this paint a long time. I want to say I've had this paint, I want to say since maybe 2020. So it lasts a long time. And it has not gone bad on me. I've been using this paint for quite a bit. So it's lasted me quite a long time. I feel like I haven't used a lot of it up. I mean, it's still hanging in there. And black's one of the most popular colors I use. So definitely recommend this. It's a good brand. And these are like, I want to say they're $9.99 and then use a coupon at like Michael's or Joann's. I love when they have those 40% off and 50% off coupons. Definitely stock up when they have those coupons, especially Black Friday. Love those. Stock up on paints. That's what I do. I am like I think if I ever showed you guys how much paint I have, you'd probably think I'm crazy. I love buying paints. I think I need one of those, what do you call those, create rooms where they have those giant, I don't know, those ones, they look like giant cabinets that are like the size of a wall. I think I could fill that with just paint. No, I'm just kidding, not that much. But those would be really cool to have, but I don't think I have the room in my house for, all the way down there. I don't think I have one room in my house for one of those giant things, but they are pretty cool. I'd love to have one of those. All right, get this little swirly part here. There we go. I might scuff this up with some dry brushing too. Get all those goobers. I always get goobers. Putting too much paint on there, then I get goobers. All right, get this little random pointy part. I don't really know what I was doing. I just doodled this hat this morning, and I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of like the shape of it. I'm not sure, but I just kind of was playing around on my iPad today and doodled a funky shape. Never seen a top hat with a funky shape like this before, so I thought I would give it a try. So there we are. Sometimes I just randomly doodle and come up with funky shapes on my my designs. I just like drawing. Having my cup of coffee this morning and was doing some doodling. I thought this looks like a fun hat. Maybe I need to do a new hat. I love doing the hats. That's my favorite part, is the hats. I just want to put a hat on everybody. All right. So there's our hat. I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna set this over here. And I'm gonna come back to that black paint. So I'm gonna set this over here and use that brush again. All right, so I'm coming over here now to my pumpkin face. And I love this orange. This is my favorite. I'm sure if you see my other videos, it's my go-to orange. Love this orange. The Deb's Design Diary DIY paints. And this one is Summer Crush. And I just love this orange. It's my favorite orange. It's just a great pumpkin orange. All right. I had another orange that I got a while ago, but it's been discontinued and it spilled all over my garage floor. And this has been a great substitute. So I'm pretty happy with this. My table leg broke, and that was on the table while I was painting, and that was the end of my orange paint. It spilled all over my garage floor. So my garage floor has orange paint on it. All right, I have way too much orange paint, so you know what? I'm just gonna tap off some of that in a big spot, like a big gap spot. There we go. Because I don't want to do it in a spot where there's like just a little bit, and then I'll have goobers again. There we go. There we are. See? You start with extra paint, it's okay. So we're gonna just paint this guy orange. Now I use a compressor on my laser, so you don't get a lot of the charring. So if you have a laser, I definitely recommend getting a compressor. If you have a Glowforge, I don't think you can add a compressor on there, but they just have those external fans. But a compressor really helps reduce all that charring that you get. So that's why the lines are so clean. There's no char on my pieces. I really love having the compressor. It really helps a lot. All right. So here we are here with his teeth. And I'm gonna try to move through this quickly. I know my other videos are kind of long. So I'm gonna try really hard to make this not as long, because I sit and gab and then I'm not paying attention. So I'm gonna try really hard to make this a little faster. So just get these coats on here. Get his little face and his teeth. And I'm going to be making a series of these pumpkins. I'm gonna make little mini ones. I'm not sure. I have a couple of designs started, but I want to see. I want to make them much different than these ones. But I'm not sure how I want to do them yet. I have them kind of drawn up, but I'm gonna do like little mini pumpkins, like little mini jack-o'-lanterns, all different kind of faces and hats, like a little set of them. And I'm gonna do like a little bit less complicated because they'll be small, and I don't want to like have too many pieces to glue on when they're small. I feel like when there's something that's really small, you don't want those tiny itsy bitsy little pieces. All right, so I'll simplify them a lot when they're smaller. So I'm gonna work on those. So I'm gonna try to get out a lot of Halloween designs this year. I'm gonna try to get a lot more than I did last year. That's why I'm starting so early. Like, I'm enjoying this nice spring weather and working on Halloween, but that's okay. Thinking early, getting my stuff done, so that way when the Christmas season comes around, I won't feel so rushed. I'm like, no, I didn't finish Halloween yet. That's what happened to me last year. So I felt like I kind of switched to Christmas, and then I kept switching back and forth trying to get everything done, and I felt like that just wasn't working. So if I start early, then I can really focus my time on both holidays, because those are my two favorite ones to design for. I feel like those are just fun. I mean, not like Easter's fun and everything, but I feel like you can do a little bit more with those holidays. I mean, bunnies are cute and everything, and eggs, but there's only so much you can do with bunnies and eggs and chicks and stuff. I like the spooky season stuff and all the cute Christmas things, and yeah. All right. I'm not sure if a lot of people decorate for Easter. All right, and this is just absorbing right into this MDF. You can see that. You can see it's like drying right in front of your face. Like right before your eyes, you can see that's drying up really, really fast. So it is requiring more than one coat. You can see that it's just absorbing right in there. And you can use a primer to help with that. If you spray a priming coat on here, it helps with the paint not absorbing so much right into that MDF. So that's another option. So here we are. And I gotta get that tooth over there. This tooth looks like it's all dried up. All right. Yeah, there we go. He's just drying up really fast. This orange is just absorbing. There we go. And I just want to make sure I got a lot of paint in his mouth here. I don't want to have all that yucky paint in there. Get some goobers out of there. We don't want goobers in his mouth. Okay. So there's our orange. I feel like I definitely gonna need like more paint on here. There we go. It's just for some reason this paint is just absorbing right into this MDF. And I'm also going to use my art crayon on this one, on those edges, to really blend that into those that back layer, and really like make it look antique for that farmhouse look. So I'm just gonna give this one last coat. So this is gonna require 3 layers. This paint is just absorbing really fast. There we go. It's just drying very quickly. There we are. Okay. And I'm gonna let this dry, and I might have to give that another coat, but I'm pretty happy with that now. I'll give it a little bit more right here at the bottom. That's a pretty orange. I love this color. It's It's a really nice orange. Okay. Just kind of make sure that I get all those brush strokes. Okay, looks good. So there's our pumpkin, and I'm gonna set him off to the side and let him dry. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna distress him with an art crayon. Okay, so now we have our florals. And that's, I think, all I have left to paint on this. This is a quick one. So I have these nice little thistles. So these little pieces come right off, and these are gonna be green. These will be the leaves. All right, and then we have our cattails. I'm gonna set those over here. And then we have some wheat, and this one layers on top of that piece, and then these ones are just kind of loose. And then we have our little flowers, and on top of that we have our little center of our flower with our little bat and our little moon here. See our bat and our moon. Okay, so then this piece we're just gonna paint randomly. So that's really up to you how you want to paint those. I'm just gonna move my orange out of the way. So I think for these, you can even leave this natural, because that I would just paint that color anyways. So I think I'm gonna leave that alone. I think I'm gonna do this more like a I think I'm gonna do that burlap color. So I'm gonna go and grab that shade, and I have some pine cone too. So I have a lot of great colors in here, and I really like the darker greens. So this is not a color I would choose for fall, like a mint color. That's more of a spring. So I'm gonna set that off to the side. I'm gonna go with a darker green. And I also like these kind of colors for your fall, like pine cone, coffee beans. They'll be great colors for fall colors. I think those are really, really good for, you know, get that fall aesthetic. And I'm gonna grab I have a color that's really great. So this is one of my favorites. And I'm always using this lovely teal color. It's an antebellum blue. That's another great color I always go to. And then I have this this burlap color, which is a nice like tan color, which is what I think I might do for the wheat. But I want to kind of go more yellowy. So I might go with, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. All right. It's very similar to the MDF natural color that it is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that. So I have my burlap, just a little brighter than the MDF. So I'm gonna get a small brush, and I have all my brushes here, my Michaels brushes. I'm gonna just grab a small brush. All right, and I'm just gonna set this up here, and I'm gonna just kind of, oops, took too much paint there, and now I got goobers. See, I make mistakes too. That's okay. I'm just gonna take my brush and get that paint out of that little hole there. All right, so make sure you use a smaller brush for this, because these pieces are close together. So just make sure that you use a nice little small brush, so you don't get any paint on that little thistle. So, and then there's also these little tiny berries here, which I'm not sure what color I want to do the berries. Maybe a red. I love red for berries. I think that would look really nice. I think that's a nice good fall color too. So there's my wheat. Just gonna grab a little bit more. And you can see this is almost the same color as the MDF. So I may not have needed to paint this, but why not? We'll paint it. That's a good wheat color. I could have added a little yellow to that too. That would have been nice. Wheat's like kind of a yellowy tan. There we go. And I can always dry brush some yellow paint over this. I think I might do that just for fun. There we are. And you can paint this however you want to do it. There we go. So there's our wheat. And a little bit more on this one. You can see that paint just absorbs right in there. You can see when I add that paint on there, it just brightens it right back up again. There we are. And I think I'm gonna do like this dark brown right here. So then those spots, those little holes, like you can see like the color pop right through. All right. Do this other piece of wheat over here. Okay. Just kind of dab that right on there. Another beautiful day today. Definitely not thinking fall. Not with this beautiful weather. Gonna have Memorial Day this weekend coming up. Okay. Here we are. So I'm gonna set that over there to dry. Okay, so I also have, you know what? I might just take that paint and just get these little bits here, just so I say I painted them. There we go. There we are. There we go. Okay. Now, you know what I'm gonna do? I think this would be great. So I've noticed when I use a really dark brown on these cattails, and then you put it on a black hat, they get lost. And then when you photograph them, you cannot see those cattails. So I'm gonna use a lighter brown on those. I mean, I could use the dark brown and then dry brush them with the lighter brown, but I think I might just do that. I don't know. I could do that. I just don't want to like lose those guys in there, because I just feel like you just don't see them, because the dark brown and the black just, they compete too much. So that's something you might want to think about. Okay, I think I might dry brush. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dry brush with this color. Okay, and I have my coffee bean. So I am gonna do that, and then I'm gonna dry brush over them so those pop, because I don't want my black and my brown to compete. That's the only thing I worry about. Okay, so I'm gonna paint these, and then I'm gonna dry brush them, so I can show you some dry brushing techniques. I'm definitely not gonna leave them that color. Okay. All right, so there's our pieces, and I'm going to use this again for this piece, so you can see that so that piece pops when you put the other piece over the top. Okay, and you know what else I noticed? This piece needs some paint. Okay. All right. That's all there is for that. And now I have to decide what colors I want to do for these little pieces here. I'm going to do so many choices. All these great colors. You know what? I have this green. It's called Palmetto. This one looks like it's like a bluish green. But I don't want it to compete with these are very similar. So I don't want it to compete too much. So I don't want to use that one. I think I might go with, I'm gonna go with this one. It's a nice green. I usually use the English Ivy, but I'm gonna try a new color today. I'm gonna try this color. It's a nice darker green. This is a brand new one I haven't used yet. It gives me a reason to open a new paint. Way too much paint. This is a nice green. So there's our green here. I have so much paint out that I have no place to put anything now. All right, so here's our green. I'm gonna grab another clean brush. I'm gonna put my cap back on my brown. And I think I'm going to paint these. These are really pretty, these thistles. I feel like thistles are like a purpley blue, so I'm gonna get out a really pretty purpley blue color for that. So I'm just gonna paint these green. Grab some more paint. There we go. I don't want to put my hand in the way so I'm not blocking it so you can see. There we are. And there we have those. Okay, so there's our green. And I want to switch greens. I don't want to do them all the same green like I usually do. So I'm going to put this green away. All right. I'm going to try to do many shades of green. That's a pretty green. All right, I'm gonna put that one away. I have like a little cart over here for all my paints. I have a lot. So, I have grays. I'm gonna go with this green, the English Ivy. That's one of my favorites to go to for fall. So I'm gonna avoid like the mints and stuff because those are more spring. So here's my English Ivy. I'll just peel this off. I try to leave these on, but after a while I don't think I'm going to because they're starting to get a little gross. I'm just trying to keep my paints as fresh as I can. But you don't have to do that. So I'm going to use that same brush again. I'm just going to wipe some of that green off. All right. And these are really similar colors. And I'm going to grab this darker green here. And I'm going to paint this little guy over here. This darker green. There we go. So he's a darker, nice dark green. It's almost the same color, but this one's just a hair darker. And there we go. Make sure I don't get any goobers in between. There we are. Okay, and you don't have to spend this much time. You don't have to do all different colors. You can do all the same if you want. Okay, and I think I'm gonna go with a nice red color for my berries. I'm gonna grab a nice pretty red. I'm looking through my reds and I'm deciding which red I want to go with because I have a bunch. So I have these two and they're almost the same, but this one's more of a purpley red and this one is more of a red. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the brighter red just because I don't want that dark red to get lost on the black hat. So, and I can also dry brush over it too. Grab another brush. I'm just gonna, and I probably should have gotten a smaller brush for this. So I'm going to be a little bit careful because I didn't get a very small brush. So I'm just gonna go through and paint my berries. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're gonna be covering that part anyways, but I don't wanna get it on the wheat that I just painted. Watch me get it on there because that's how I am, because I'm painting it on camera. I'm gonna be very, very careful. Almost. All right, so this is the part that's gonna be a little bit tricky. Just be very careful you don't get it on the other piece next to it. All right, pretty good. All right, just make sure there's no goobers. Wipe any extra off so I don't have any goobers on there. All right, pretty good. And these pieces are gonna kind of hang off anyways, so, and then they're gonna touch back on the hat. I just don't want them to get lost. Okay, so for this leaf, I think I wanna do maybe a yellow, just because, you know, the leaves are starting to change. I think that would look really nice. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick my favorite yellow, and that's my mustard color. Ooh, almost dropped it. Shake that up really good. It's really hard to shake these folk art ones because they're so thick. And you can see that. Look at that. It is thick. Look at that. It's like sticky thick. And again, these are old. I've had these a long time. Maybe that's why they're so thick, because these are some old paints. Okay, so I used this brush before for the burlap, and why not use it again for the yellow? Just wipe it off because it's pretty similar. I mess up more brushes, that's how I feel. So just wipe it off on your paper towel. Okay, so here's our yellow leaf, and I am going to kind of just stress it a little bit. Like, you know how like the leaves aren't just one color, they're changing. They're kind of in the transition phase of maybe it's a little bit of yellow, maybe there's a little bit of orange, a little bit of red. So I still have my red paint out just because I'm gonna add a little bit of red to that leaf. And you can see this one is part of this guy here. So it's gonna touch a little bit. And I got it right on that green. Of course, and maybe it will be covered up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and I'm making it move. Here we go. There's my yellow. Grab a little bit more. Here's my yellow leaf. There we go. And since I have my yellow paint out, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just run that brush right over that wheat. Just a dry brush over that. Add a little bit of pop of yellow on that wheat. Make it look more natural. There we go. Just dry brush right over that. There we are. I think there was some leftover goobers in those holes. There we are. There. A little bit of yellow. A little pop of color. Okay. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna even just dry brush over these red berries. Just a hair. Give it a little bit of highlights. There we go. Okay. Oh, you know what? Look at that, just throwing stuff around. So I'm gonna grab some more yellow because I have my moon I gotta paint. Gotta paint that guy. There we are. Paint this moon. There he is. With our little spooky bat. He's fun. Why not have the middle of the flower also be a moon? That's the way I see it. It can be extra cute. Okay. Here he is. Okay, a little bit more. You guys are probably sick of me always painting the flowers blue. Can't help it. I just love that teal color so much. All right. But we have some thistles. We can paint the thistles a different color. All right. You know what? I should have painted my bat. Well, I still have my black paint out. I still have my black brush. Let's get that bat painted. I still have some black paint on this brush. There we go. Get that bat painted. Yeah, he's tiny. There we go. Almost forgot about him. Put him over there. Okay. I gotta put this green paint away. Make sure, let me just make sure that, this is the wrong flower. I'm gonna make sure that this guy covers all the way up so I don't have anything showing that needed to be painted. And then make sure that I use this one, make sure nothing is showing that still needs to be painted, because that's what I like to do. Looks like I got everything. Okay, that's what I always like to do, to go back, make sure before you put your paints away and clean your brushes that you got everything that is going to be that's not going to be covered up by the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to just clean my yellow off my brush, and I am going to grab some of this light brown here, and I'm going to just dry brush over this cattail, and I'm just going to go along the edges because I want this guy to pop. I do not want this to be a dark brown. I'm just going to add a little bit of dry brushing on this because I don't want this to be so dark brown. I also didn't want this light brown color either, because cattails are not this color. They're not light brown. They're like that dark brown. Put a little too much on there. So there's our dry brushing. There's our cattail number 1. Now he'll pop. He's not going to pop without some dry brushing. Here we go. Do the same thing over here. Just add that right to the edges, making sure you're really getting those edges nice. All right, there's number 2. I shouldn't have said number 2 because those kind of look like number 2. Anyways, all right, so let's just see. That looks really fun. I'm gonna just make sure I get all those little holes in there. So I got all those little holes. Okay. There he is. There's that piece. I gotta paint these now. I have my little thistle color. I love this folk art color. It's a great thistle color. Ooh, got a fly here. All right. And I'm going to paint my thistle. You know, I'm gonna use this green brush. I'm just gonna wipe it off. Wipe off my green paint, because I don't like having to use too many brushes. I feel like I use way too many brushes, so I'm gonna not use so many. I'm gonna just dip my paint right in that blue. Here we go. The only part you're gonna paint is just this very top part. And there it is. That's all you do for the thistle. And then I am going to add some inks, some distressing inks, just to add some, I don't know, some character on them. Maybe along the top, make them like more realistic looking. There we are. Okay, hope my hand's not in the way. Here, I'll just switch hands and so you can see that. There we go. So that is the thistle painting part, because we are going to cover those up with the those green like the stems and the leaves. So it does not have to be perfect. You can even like go over that a little bit. Okay. Get that again. Give another coat. Okay. All right, that's it. I just want to blend that in so it doesn't kind of be gross. Okay. All right. So the last thing we have to do are these. And you know what? While I still have my red on my brush, I'm just going to dry brush these edges of this leaf. There we are. I'm just working my way towards the middle. There we are. And I'm just dry brushing that. There we are. So now our leaf kind of looks like the edges are starting to change red. There we go. Oh, I love that. Okay. Very fun. All right, so deciding on these colors here. I really love that teal. I have to go with the teal. Alrighty. Maybe I'll pick a different color for one of the other flowers. But it's gotta be a fall color. I don't want to go with orange because orange is already the color of the pumpkin. So it's gonna be a tough choice. I think I'm gonna have to go with blue. I could go with purple, but then purple may not show very well on the black hat. It's tricky. I don't want to go with any pinks or anything because those aren't really good fall colors. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I think I'm really gonna have to stick with the teals. This is a good color. This is like a kind of a lavender, like a dark lavender. It's a Secret Path. That could work. I feel like this is too spring though. I don't want to go with these kind of colors because these would be too spring-like. So I want to go with like more darker tones for spring. So I think I'm gonna go with the usual colors. So I think I'm gonna go with the teal, but I think I might grab a different shade for the bottom color. I'm gonna grab this really pretty, this color. I'm gonna try to change it up a little bit. This is a really pretty, like a turquoise color. And this one is Country Chic Paint. This one is called Tropical Cocktail. That's what I'm gonna do for the back one, and then I'm gonna do the teal on the top. So, trying to change it up, but I really just love the teal so much for the flowers. All right. I'm gonna just set this down. And I'm just gonna put this down here. Okay. All right, I'm gonna grab a clean brush. And I'm gonna grab some of that blue paint. I don't wanna take too much. And I'm just gonna put it along the edges. And I'm gonna dry brush these. And I like to do like the yellows and the oranges to make it look like a patina. And it just looks so pretty with the blues. And you really don't have to spend this much time. This is me just being indecisive on colors. Like, we could have probably finished this up probably 15 minutes ago. So, I was trying to go a little faster this time so I don't keep you for an hour on this video. Alrighty. But thanks for watching and hanging out and doing some painting with me. And if you bought this file, maybe you could be painting along with me, doing this together. That would be fun. All right. Okay. You don't have to do the middle because that's going to be covered up. Okay, so there's our blue. And I'm going to grab my teal now. This is going to be one of our last pieces to paint. This was a fast one. I feel like with all the parts, I felt like this would take the longest, but it goes by fast. So I'm just gonna wipe that paint off. I'm gonna use that same brush again because they're similar colors, and I don't mind if the paints blend a little bit. I'm just checking on my pumpkin. Looks like he dried pretty nicely. So while he's drying, that works out perfectly because now that he's dry, I can do some fun techniques with the art crayons, and we can distress them a little bit. I like to get those out of the way first so we can do some fun distressing stuff. All right, got some goobers in my paint. There we are. I always seem to have goobers in my paint. There we are. So now we'll do some dry brushing. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to grab, You know, I want to grab a different brush. Actually, I want to hold on to my orange and my red and my yellow. So I'm gonna hang on to that red brush that I used earlier because I want to add a little bit of red and my orange. Okay. So I'm gonna grab a new brush. I think this will be a good brush. So I'm gonna add a hair of this yellow, just a little bit, and I'm just tap it off a little. And I'm just gonna go through, and I didn't tap enough off. There we are, that's better. I'm gonna add a little bit of that yellow on there. I'm just gonna kind of like make it look dirty like a patina, because I don't want that really bright blue. Like, it's a great blue, but I don't want it that bright. So I'm just gonna kind of dirty it up a little bit. Oops, put too much paint on there that time. There's our yellow. And there's the edges, but I also want to do the same thing on this one. Take some of that paint off. Whew, too much. There we are. A little too much there, but that's okay. I can go back and take some of that off. Actually, I kind of like it. Just kind of blend it with your fingers. There's my teal one. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I just don't want it to compete with the moon, because that moon's gonna be on top of that one. There we go. And now I have my orange paint out still. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that orange, a little too much. So I'm just gonna take a little bit and just kind of put it along the edges. And it looks like a nice patina. There we are. Flinging it all over. There we go. There. A little bit, just a little bit. And I love how it just transitions from that orange, that yellow to that orange. There we go. I'm not sure if I even need that red. We'll take a look and see if we need it. There it is. Love it. That's why I like the teal, because it just looks so fun. And there's our flowers. And we'll see how we like that on here. There we go. I really do like that. I think that looks really pretty. It really pops. Now we have our moon. And I want to get my art crayon out. And I'm going to distress my little moon a little bit. I want it to pop. So I have my moon. I'm going to take this art crayon and just rub it along the edge, because I want to have that nice dark line around the edge. And I kind of made a mess there, but that's okay. We'll blend it out. It's going to be a spooky moon. How's that? Maybe that moon has some clouds in front of it. There we go. Get some darkness around that. There we go. Maybe it's a spooky moon. There we go. There's our spooky moon. And our bat. That's gonna pop right in there. And my fingernails are not working for me today. There we go. So there's our moon. Love it. All right. So you're gonna put that right on top. Okay. And you know what? I still want to do something with these guys. I want to add some, I want to say maybe a navy ink. So I have my inks. I have my distress inks. I have a lot of colors to choose from. I think I want to go with maybe this color because it's kind of similar to that. I'm going to see how it goes. If it doesn't show up, get a different color. It's all about experimenting. So these are just the Tim Holtz inks. You can get them at Michael's, Joann's. I don't think I've ever even used this one. There we go. That's a really pretty color. So let me just pick this whole thing up, and I'm just gonna rub it right along the edge. Oh, that looks nice. So I'm gonna use my corner of this, just kind of rub it along the edges. Make it look like it's like sharp. Like, look at all those little spiky guys in there. Look at that. And just along the edge. Don't go too crazy because you don't want to take over. So I don't know if you can see that. Move up a little closer. So and just be careful because it is getting a little close to the other one next to it. You don't want to get that blue on that that wheat. So there we are. All right. So there's our inks. I'm gonna move it up close so you can see it. All right, there's our ink for our thistles. Okay, I think it's the first time I used that color. I buy so many of those. Okay, so these just fit on here like a puzzle piece. You see they just slide right on here. This one fits right up against the petal of this flower. And then we have our cattail. And we have our other cattail. There he is. And then we have these lovely things. You know what I think I'm gonna put some crayon on here. Some of these art crayons, just to give it a little texture too. Yeah, there we go. That looks like fun. Just to give it a little texture. Just a little bit, not too much. Just a hair. Maybe just something along the edge here. There we are. All right. Let's see how that looks. I gotta fly here. Get out of here. Get out of here, fly. And then that just fits right up against here, and it butts right up against that petal of that flower. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this flower. Looks like he's just waving his arms in the air, like he just doesn't care. Look at him. Like he's just having a good time. He's having a great time, this guy. This thistle. He's like, yeah, look at me. Yeah. A little bit here. There we go. Cool. All right, maybe a little bit on his stem. And he is all done. All right. So I would definitely recommend you use MDF or something on this because I feel like, you know, using birch, it's just chars and breaks so easily. So this guy just slides right in there. Make sure you line it up just right. And this guy here, line him up. And you're gonna glue them on. And make sure you use your super glue or whatever glue you use. There it is. I would say this looks pretty good. So, and make sure when you glue these, make sure that you work fast if you use that Loctite super glue. There's all of our florals, and I'm going to come back with our back piece. All right. Oh, we gotta distress this guy. What are we doing? Forgot all about it. All right, I'm gonna carefully move this right onto his hat. Let's do that first. Bring that hat back. You know, I think we should distress this a little bit. What do you think? I think we should dry brush that. I'm gonna set this over here. And I think we should dry brush this. Absolutely. I'm gonna make some more work for myself. All right, I am going to, I'm not sure what color though. I think gray. I wanna say gray dry brush. Because I don't wanna do white. I feel like white would just be like too much. So maybe get like a gray. I would say that. I'm gonna grab a gray paint. I have so much paint. I have this gray. It is Sandcastle from Folk Art, and that's a nice gray, I would say. It's almost like a, I want to say it's like a brownish gray, because I feel like if I did this in white, it would just be like in your face too much. So, ooh, look at that. When I shook it, it needs to be shaken again. Make sure you shake them up really good, because you don't want that. Shake this some more. Goodness. Awkward. All right, that's better. Weird. You know, I have special brushes that I like to use for my dry brushing. I get these brushes, don't know, this might be too long. I like some really, I like the really thick bristle brushes. Ugh, there's more of those brushes. Don't get these. Don't get these. Look at this. Look at all these bristles. I mean, yeah, you can get them, but I'm just warning you that the bristles are falling out of these. Learned my lesson on those kind of brushes. I mean, if you want to get them, you guys can, but they just yucky. I'm just gonna grab a better brush for dry brushing. I'm gonna grab this one. Okay, I like this brush. This would be a good dry brushing brush. So I'm just gonna take a bit of this gray paint, just a little bit, and I'm gonna wipe some of this off and just get some of this gunk off of here that came off. There we are. Kind of take some of that off so I don't have too much paint, because you want it to be nice and dry. You don't want to have, you just don't want to have too much paint, because then it's gonna look weird. Okay, so I'm just gonna start and just work my way from the corners and just drag it. There's it, right from the corners. And you're just gonna kind of just drag it really slightly, just ever so slightly, because on black it's gonna be really noticeable. There we go. And then I just kind of do some crisscross lines. And you can do this with sandpaper too, and it gives you the kind of the similar effect, like you took the paint back off. There we go. So it just kind of makes the hat not so dark. It just kind of makes it more of that farmhouse. So I don't know if you can see that. You can see those edges. And I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that gray. I like to start a little light and then work my way at a little bit more. It's just hard once you put too much on. It's hard to go back. All right, so, ooh, I love that. So there's a little bit more. You can see that, if you can see. And I'm just gonna keep on doing that and just kind of going across ever so lightly with the brush, ever so lightly. So now I'm really happy with that look. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna do the same thing over here on his little swirly thingy on his hat. Not really sure what that is. That's what happens when I'm drinking coffee. Just come up with weird things. I'm not sure what it is. All right, and I got some little goober there. All right, and just kind of do the same thing on this side. And just kind of rub it right along the edge, getting those edges. All right, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, there's our hat. Okay, this is done. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna go grab those florals and place those on there. And you're gonna line these up just like how they are on the hat. Just line them right up. There we go. Those are lined up. That's it. There's your hat. And I'm gonna take this away. So there's our hat. That's really fun. And now I want to get my pumpkin, and I think I want to use the art crayon. And I'm gonna just go ahead and just add a little bit in between those eyes. I got a goober in there. Scrape it off with my nail. If you don't have nails, I recommend grabbing some of these. These are clay tools. They're for like modeling clay, like polymer clay. These tools are awesome for, you know, just like scraping stuff off. So these are great, Amazon. So just using some like polymer clay tools, and they're great for like rubbing some of the paint off or anything. They're really awesome. Okay, so like I said, if you are going to get any of these art crayons, start with a black one. That's the most versatile color, I would say, but they do have lots and lots of colors out there. They do have like the whole set you can get. They have sparkly ones, I think, like the shimmery ones. They have so many cool art crayons, and they're so easy to work with. You can see how easily these blend. I mean, just using your fingers. They are great and very fun, and they create that nice edge when you're painting, and you want to add like a little bit of a black edge to something. You know, use an art crayon. They're very, very fun to use. Yeah, so, and it creates that nice like antique look. Like if you're going for that, you know, old style like farmhouse look. I got some goobers in there. If you're going for that farmhouse, like what do they call it, primitive style, these work really great for that. If you're going for that style, a lot of people really like that primitive, like that folk art style. These are great for that. All right. Every time I think I'm done, I gotta like, oh, I want to do this. There he is. All right, so I'm just gonna get all in there. My fingers, get his teeth. There we are. I want to get all these bits in between. And this just works really great because look, I can get both of those lines at the same time. Look at that. Whoop. There we are. And you can kind of scuff it out with your fingers. Oh, look at that, making a mess. But you can always blend. Just keep on blending. Keep on blending. That's what I love about these. They're so fun. Don't forget to get the bottom pieces. Get that bottom. Just kind of blend it all in. I really like these. And get this last piece here. And then get the other side. Now he looks spooky. He's a happy guy, but he's spooky. I don't want to make him too scary. I don't want anything to be scary. I like cute. All right. Like the spider. Like he's a cute spider. I don't like spiders. They scare me. So the only way I was making a spider unless it was cute. I did make those 3D spiders, but those kind of freak me out a little bit. Not gonna lie. Kind of one of those out of the house. They scare me, but people love spiders. I'm a little afraid of them. I had forgotten about them. This was a couple of years ago I made those, and I had forgotten about them, and I left them laying out, and one of them was laying in my on my dining room table, and I saw it there and I freaked out. Thought it was real for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought one of the cats brought a spider in. I'm like, no thanks, don't like spiders, they scare me. Other people love spiders. All right. Just waiting for those cicadas to come out this year. And they'll be nice and loud. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with this guy. Get those eyes some more. Really get it in there. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of blend it all in. There we go. I really like this guy. He's fun. Look at him. Okay, I think we're done. I'm just gonna put them all together now. There he is. Just line up his hat. Don't line up the sides of the pumpkin because it's not going to, because you want those black pieces to show on either side. Okay, so make sure it's the hat that you're lining up. Okay. So line up your hat pieces. Now we get his hat. You line up those hat pieces again. All right. And he is finished. I'm gonna set him down so you can see him. Move everything out of the way. There he is. He is all finished. I move my paint. There he is. hope you guys like him. I'm really happy with him. I don't know if I like him better than the one with the witch hat or this one. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think they're different enough that I don't know which one I like better. But I think he's kind of his own thing. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed him. And then you're gonna glue those stands on the back, and I provide a photo of how to apply those to the back of the piece. But if you don't want to put the stands on, you don't have to. You can just you can make them as a leaner. So that's what I do. I mean, I like them as leaners, but you don't have to. You don't have to put the stands on if you don't want to. Find something to lean them against. Or you can put the stands on, but the stands can slide out. But yeah, I'm really happy with this guy. I think he came out pretty fun. I'm just gonna move him down so you can see him a little bit better. There he is. So, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you're not part of my Facebook group, definitely join. I do have some free files and other tutorials. I have a lot of different finishing techniques. I've done like foiling techniques, lots of dry brushing. There's a lot of really cool stuff that I have in my group. So if you want to join that, that's Winetopia on Facebook. Winetopia, I think it's like Glowforge Crafters or something like that. But if you want to join that, definitely have some fun things in there. All right, thanks so much. All right, have a good night. Bye.